Hello, everybody. So today is Tuesday, December 15th, and this is the second half of Lesson 19 in Module 2. So today we're going to wrap up and finish our book, The Legend of the Blue Bonnet. We're going to do our writing today. Before we do that, we're going to listen to the last part of Miss Sabella's video where she talks about the writing process. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share the screen. All right, so here we go.
This is a perfect time for a stretch break. Pause here to take a stretch break.
So we really just don't need that right now because we just started, but here we go.
In informative paragraphs. Today, you're going to have an opportunity to give this a try and to get some feedback from your classroom teacher. Here's our informative writing anchor chart. Point to the T for topic statement. Now point to E for evidence. And finally, point to C for the conclusion. Pause here to tell your learning partner about each of these parts of the paragraph, what they do, and how you use it. Just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay. So, oops, wrong thing. Hold on. I did not mean to do that. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to tell your learning partner about the statement, about what it does and how you use it. Then talk to your partner about the evidence, what it does and how do you use it. And then talk about the conclusion, what it does and how do you use it. And then hit play when you're ready to continue.
We are ready to add more information to our informative writing anchor chart. Today, we'll be adding introduction. Introduction provides background information on the topic. It starts the paragraph and identifies the overall topic. Writers also call an introduction an introductory statement, so we may be using both words, just like writers do. Since you're so observant, I know you noticed the check mark in the corner, and you know what that means. Your classroom teacher will use this opportunity to check in with you. You'll be writing a paragraph that responds to or answers this question. What is the lesson of the legend of the Blue Bonnet, and what key details support it? Let's take a closer look at the directions and the criteria for success. Pause here to read the directions to yourself, and then just hit play when you're ready to read them together.
Okay, so it says write an informative paragraph with clearly explained points to answer the following question. What is the lesson of the legend of the Blue Bonnet? What key details support it? Support your response using evidence from the following text, the legend of the Blue Bonnet. Include in your answer an introduction, a topic statement, at least 2 clearly explained points with key details from the text, and a conclusion.
Write an informative paragraph with clearly explained points to answer the following question. What is the lesson of the legend of the Blue Bonnet, and what key details support it? Support your response using evidence from the following texts. The Legend of the Blue Bonnet by Tomie dePaola. The question again is, what is the lesson of the legend of the Blue Bonnet, and what key details support it? Now let's take a look at the checklist of everything that needs to be included in your paragraph to have a complete paragraph that responds to this question. Your paragraph will need an introduction or an introductory statement. It will also need a topic statement that answers this question. Also, at least 2 clearly explained points with key details from the text. And remember, that's the evidence that you gathered in your journal. You have 2 clearly explained points in your journal with key details from the text. And then finally, you'll wrap up your paragraph with a conclusion. Pause here to work to complete this task. Just hit play when you're ready to wrap up our video lesson.
Okay, so if you remember yesterday on page 83 in our journal, we came up with this chart where we said that the main idea of the story was that sometimes you have to make sacrifices to help others. So this is going to be our topic statement. This is going to be the evidence that we use to create our paragraph. Okay. So, but before we do that, we need to come up with a introduction. Okay. How do the Comanche people get this point across? What do they do to tell people this message? So this is a legend. This is a story that is passed down verbally through storytelling from one generation to the next. So we could introduce the story or introduce the paragraph by saying that the Comanche people told stories to teach a lesson. And sometimes that lesson, the lesson of this story of the Blue Bonnet, is that sometimes you have to make sacrifices to help others. So on page 84 of your journal, you were going to write page 84 on the bottom, okay? And then write the question on the top of the page. I do apologize for my blurry, there we go. You're going to write the question on top of the page. What is the lesson of the legend of the Blue Bonnet? And what key details support it? So we need to start with our introduction. So my introduction is going to be the Comanche people told stories to teach lessons. Okay, so that is my introduction. That is telling me what the paragraph is going to be about. But now I want to narrow down my focus from just them telling stories. Which story have we been learning about? Yeah, we have been learning about the legend of the Blue Bonnet. So the lesson So we could say the lesson of the legend of the Blue Bonnet is, and then we go back to our chart on page 83. What is it? That sometimes you have to make sacrifices to help others. So the lesson of the legend of the Blue Bonnet is sometimes you have to make sacrifices to help others. All right, now that was my topic statement, and we know that we always underline the topic statement in green. Okay, so remember, this is a paragraph, so we're not going to just skip a line and start at the beginning. We're just going to keep it. But because there is no room here, I do need to go down. So what I need to do first is go back and look. What can I use from my chart? What started off this story? Should we talk about how the great spirits demanded a sacrifice, about how she gave up her doll, or how they changed her name? I think it started with how they demanded a sacrifice. So we need to put that in our next part of our story. So we need to say the great spirit demanded, oop, running out of room there, a sacrifice of their most valued. Oops, can't see anything, can you? Their most valued possession. So did everyone had to sacrifice something? The great spirits didn't say that, did they? So someone, or we could say one person, one person had to make that sacrifice. Now let's go back to our chart. Who made that sacrifice? It was she who was alone. And what did she sacrifice? Her doll. So we need to put that in there. So she who is alone gave up her doll. Okay. So what happened after she gave up her doll? Let's go back to our chart. What does it say? After she gave up her doll, what happened? The rains came, the drought ended, and so did the famine. So we need to put that in here. So the rains came. And the drought and famine ended. Okay. So we need to go back because we have some evidence here that we need to underline. Our first piece of evidence needs to be in yellow. So we need to put the great spirits demanded a sacrifice of their most valued possession. That's our first piece of evidence. What is our second piece of evidence? Well, I think this probably might still be in the same. It's still talking about they have to give something up. But our second piece of evidence, who is the only person who did it? She who was alone gave up her doll. Okay. And then what happened when she did? The rains came and the drought and famine ended. All right. So then, how did our story end? What happened? They decided to change her name to call her one who dearly loved her people. So after the famine ended, how did she help her people? How did that help the people survive? Because the famine ended, the people were able to eat again. They were able to have food and eat. Okay, and so the people were grateful. They renamed her one who dearly loved her people because she made a big difference in their lives. All right. And I think this is probably going to be still part of the second piece of evidence. And then the last part where they renamed her is going to be the conclusion because that's how the story ended. Okay. So the question was, what is the lesson of the legend of the Bluebonnet and what key details support it? The Comanche people told stories to teach lessons. The lesson of the legend of the Bluebonnet is sometimes you have to make sacrifices to help others. The great spirits demanded a sacrifice of their most valued possession. One person had to make a sacrifice. She who was alone gave up her doll. The rains came and the drought and famine ended. The people were able to have food again. They renamed her one who dearly loved her people because she made a difference in their lives. So I think that I answered that question about what the lesson of the legend of the Bluebonnet is, and I supported it with details. I have a topic statement. I have at least two pieces of evidence. I have a conclusion. What else did the criteria say? Let's go back to the video and look and see what it's saying.
Wow, today was full of some.
Sorry. We were supposed to see what, okay, so we have an introduction, topic statement, two pieces of details, and a conclusion. So my story, my paragraph, met all of the requirements. So when you do your story today, you're going to need to make sure that you also have an introduction, a topic statement, at least 2 pieces of evidence, key details, and a conclusion. Right, let's keep listening.
Ready to wrap up our video lesson. Wow, today was full of some powerful thinking and also some very independent writing. You gathered evidence, you captured those key details, and you also tried out an introductory statement all on your own. You are learning and growing so much, and I am very proud of you. I will see you again very soon.
All right, so in your journal today, on pages 84 and 85, you are going to write your paragraph answering the question, what is the lesson of The Legend of the Bluebonnet and what key details support it? And you are going to use the chart on page 83 to help you answer it, okay? Now, I realize we all have the same piece of evidence, so your story is going to be very similar to mine, but it should not be exactly like mine, okay? Please do not copy mine. You need to write your own, okay? All right, so then you're going to take a picture with your Chromebook and upload it into the Google assignment. And that is all that we have for today. And tomorrow we will start a new text. All right, so have a great afternoon. Don't forget to log in at either 8:30 or 1 o'clock for the reading assessments with Ms. Kofer and Ms. Stockwell. You'll find the Zoom link on the Google Classroom page. All right, you guys have a great afternoon. I'll see you later.